basketball is one of the few sports that are truly global, and that you have that global appeal everywhere. When people think about basketball, obviously NBA comes to mind, but I'm interested to know more about and your view about the European landscape, because you spent a lot of time in EuroLeague. EuroLeague was, at the time when it was created, quite a disruptive proposition,
Yep.
A breakaway league. We saw it that in football they tried to do something similar. It didn't work. It worked in basketball. You have the national teams. You have the national competitions with FIBA. You have the national championship. It's a sport that is lived with a passion that it's hardly met in countries in the Balkans, Turkey, Greece. It's kind of a sort of religion there. Now it looks like the NBA is coming into Europe to this very, heterogeneous landscape. What's your view of what's going on in basketball?
You just summed up 25 years of European basketball story, and it actually goes fast, as they say in Spain, se dice rápido, right? The EuroLeague is a breakaway league. Actually, is everything what the Football Super League wanted to be. Probably they should have called the EuroLeague and asked how to do it, right? That will be the first question. Why they didn't do that. So that's what you say. So you cannot see it. Europe is very unique in general because probably you don't have any region of the planet that has so much, let's say, social, political tension in recent history that is bound to work together. So World War I and II was less than 100 years ago. And that's the European Union. So people that fought before, now they are trying to work together. So everything that has a Euro mentality, it's complex in itself, right? So you need to put, in agreement Turks and Greeks and Balkans and Italians and Spanish and French. So that requires a high level of political maneuvering and flexibility, right? So the EuroLeague, by definition, is a private company. Its shareholders, the majority of shareholders are clubs, 13 clubs, 13 of the most notorious clubs, biggest clubs. Some, you could argue that there are some that in size are not big per se, but are relevant in the region. So you have clubs like Žalgiris Kaunas. Lithuania is a country of around 3 million people. The only place that I have ever seen that they coined official currency in the shape of a basketball on the planet was in Lithuania.
Incredible.
For example, that's the mentality.
And I think it's one of the biggest talent
exporters
globally. Like it's similar to football, like what happening with Uruguay. Uruguay is a tiny country, 3 million people, and the amount of football players that comes out of Uruguay,
it's amazing. Many years ago, I don't want to cite the number, but many years ago, Lithuania was the highest NBA talent per capita market in the NBA, right? They had comparatively a decent number of Lithuanian players for such a small country, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the situation. But then you go, across the Balkans, across the Central Eastern Europe, Southern Europe. So it's a highly passionate matter. It's highly political. It's intertwined with football because of the reality of the European sporting landscape is a multi-sports club. That's the basis. Then there are different sports-specific clubs, right? But the majority are multi-sports, right? So what you have now is a company that just turned 25 years old, and it was actually a very Spanish endeavor. Right, so the proponents and the guys that led for 22 years the league were based in Barcelona, were people that came out actually from the ACB before, Jordi Bertomeu, which was my boss in my tenure there, and they had a vision that was unifying. It wasn't perfect, but it was unifying in a way that the private entity could potentially manage it better than a federative entity that has another objective. You were mentioning the national teams, the national leagues. the ecosystem in sports is very complex in itself. If you try to do everything, you'll do everything badly. So if you are running a competition that has to be for profit, that has to reinvest in talent development, that has to spill over, the benefits of that talent development to the base of the pyramid, you need a private endeavor on the top. Evidently, as a federation, you need to regulate. You need to make sure that the essence of the game doesn't get distorted. But your job, at least this is my point of view, as a federation or as a national league, is to propose for the development of local talent, right, and national talent. So that was the status quo, probably until around the time that we met, actually, around 2011, 2010. Then there was a complete rupture from the ecosystem, which wasn't the first time. When the EuroLeague launched, the basketball fans know, but the ones that are watching will know, you had two European competitions at the maximum level. You had the EuroLeague and the Super League. Super League, at that time, they had Panathinaikos, Maccabi was playing Super League, and it lasted one season because the market forces went to the most comprehensive product. Yeah. So then the unification happened. Then there was some sort of entente with the FIBA, and it ran for almost a decade in a very stable way. So you had EuroLeague, you had then the EuroLeague Cup, which turned to be the Euro Cup, and then you had what was the FIBA level at that time. I think it was called the Challenger Cup or something like that.
That then turned into the Champions League.
That comes out of the second season.
Okay.
For the time that they fight again, when they break away completely. So if you watch FIBA games and EuroLeague games, you cannot see the same referees, for example, because it's so absurd that it goes even to that level. But then they decided to launch, and that was probably 2014, 2015, I think, because I think it turned 10 years now, the Basketball Champions League, which coincidentally didn't have any national champions in it because all the champions of Europe were part of the EuroLeague already. But it's a product that they developed with potentially listening to what the EuroLeague team said at the beginning in 2000, which was this product can be better, can be presented better, the television product could be better, et cetera, et cetera. They had a very good product, right? So that happened. Then EuroLeague, they did their JV with IMG, transformed the competition landscape and whatnot. Today it's a 20-league competition. Now they're saying that probably goes to 24. I had my doubts there because of the calendar, but that is a response to the new threat, which is the NBA coming to Europe, right? So right now, probably, I never seen in 20 years that I've been living in Europe so many headlines around basketball.
That's true.
Ever. So, for me, at least it's good news.